I had some questions about like why did people like come into the exhibition in Kyiv while you have still the war there, like, and if we not doing that, like the our enemy will be satisfied about that they really stopped us in developing of culture.
I'm speaking with artist and photographer Sergey Melnitchenko. Your work has been viewed all over the world, and I hate to begin on a sour note, but I want to kind of get local here for a second because, on the one hand, we've had news coming in to the States and video and reporting showing that Kherson has been liberated by Ukrainian forces. There's a Ukrainian flag in the center of town waving once again. However, overnight, the Russians were bombing your hometown, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't even imagine what emotions you're feeling right now.
It's a bit hard to tell because we had these emotions for last 8, 9 months. So it's kind of it's hard to spell, but it's kind of become normal, for my hometown to be bombed like almost every night, every day. So yeah, it was bombed again, and it was just civilians, a district with civilian people, and like 6 or 7 people already found that. It's kind of really awful, and but for us, this news like about like almost 9 months is already like.
Yeah, I mean, you seem to be, or maybe I don't want to speak for you, but it seems like the people I talk to in Ukraine, they've gotten used to this, but I don't understand how anybody can get used to it. I mean, it affects every part of life. I can only imagine. The thing that I was curious about asking you about were the exhibits and exhibitions you had in Kiev, because they were also right after bombings and the power was out.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had a photography exhibit in inside
In a nightmare.
with no
Yeah,
lights,
yeah.
but people came with flashlights and lanterns and all kinds of different, cell phone lights, and it kind of caught the attention of international media. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it was it used to be like the 13th of October. We used to open our exhibition of my photography school, yeah, in Kiev, but after the center of Kiev was bombed on the 10th of October, we decided like to postpone it a bit to 20th of October, yeah, but actually nothing changed for that week, but we decided that we need to make it. So we went to Kiev, we did the installation, everything, and the hour before the opening on the 20th, I had a call from the curator, director of the gallery. He said like the lights turned off in the area, so what we're gonna do? I came there, we decided like to text in the social media, Instagram, Facebook, everything, like we have no lights, so people, please, up to you if you wanna come or anything, like it's up to you. And we had we were really crowded there, like a lot of people came. It was like wow, more than 100 people like came to the exhibition when it was really night, like everywhere, not only in the gallery but everywhere on the streets, and everywhere was like everything, the light turned off. People came with the lights on the mobile phones, with the photographic lamps, with the like some kind of lamps from their homes, just some fancy ones, and everything. So, and we had a photographer who used to make a reportage from the opening, and when we had these photos, we really had the intention of all the medias like BBC Ukraine, Vogue Ukraine, like Village, and great articles with interviews and everything. So yeah, and then I went to Norway, to Italy, and everywhere. So I told the story, showed the photos, and people was like, wow.
You said a lot of people came, right? Despite the
Yeah,
fact
a lot of people. I was really so surprised that I thought that, like people, okay, we will come like tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon when it's gonna be a light. But when people came in, it was an exhibition, and we saw all these lights and atmosphere. The first of all, atmosphere of the exhibition, it was magical. It was, I've never saw that before, you know. I think it's one of the best exhibitions I've ever had, like even of mine, you know, like because my school, it's kind of, it's part of me, it's my soul. So it's really one of the best openings and the best exhibitions I've ever had for
Yep.
13 years.
I do want to talk to you about that school a little bit later, but I also have some other questions. How many people showed up? Do you have an estimate?
What do you mean?
Do you know generally or approximately how many people showed up to the exhibition in Kiev with no lights?
You mean like how many people came to the
Yeah,
exhibition?
yeah.
Like more than 100, it's for sure. But we didn't like count or something. But
Okay.
on at the opening, it was like more than 100. And afterwards, it's like every day people coming, and even when there is no light as well, because it was not only that day, but after as well. A lot of people which are coming, and sometimes it's the power is turned off, the lights turn off, and people still watching the exhibition with the lights, so it continues, you know, like.
Oh, so when the power was still on, in some cases, people wanted you to turn the lights off anyhow.
Yeah, yeah,
To
yeah.
have that experience, it sounds like you've come up with a new way of doing exhibitions.
Yeah. We have these circumstances, so yeah.
So, did you talk to people there? Did you get any impression about why people wanted to come despite the circumstances, or did anyone talk to you about that?
Yeah, of course, a lot of people were talking about, and then I heard like another people were talking about, like with my students and their friends, and afterwards, like in these interviews, that's why it became so like on a view, you know, like with this all the medias, because it's about our people, about the connection of our people, about our power, you know, like so against anything, you know, we are just going against everything which is happening, so we just need to push, you know, like we need to continue the art, like is the art community is doing a great role actually in that in this war, so that's why we need not to show that we are like afraid of something, you know, we just go in, and it connects people more and more and more.
Is that what it's about? Continuing to do art when war is happening around
Yeah,
you.
for sure, for sure.
It's about connecting with people.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, of course, of
experience.
course. Through the art we are showing a lot of things that is happening, and the art will go to the history as well, the like the art in terms of war, and the art also helps us like to help our art helps to sell it and help our people in need and help our army and everything, so art really plays a great role in everything now.
How does art help the army?
A lot, you know, we have a lot of foundations and fundings and everything that we can gather funds through it. You know, I sold myself like in the first days of war. I sold my NFT collection, $8,000, and I like spread it like to the army, to the people needs everything like medicines, food, clothes, and to people who was like resettled without any money. Especially the first days, it was like the hardest days, you know. And then our school created this also like NFT collection, and also my friends, artists, collectors, galleries started to help our like to send in money and everything. That's in a whole, you know, I'm connected to art like totally, so in a whole art really did a lot, like only from my side, you know, but we have a lot of artists as well, we had a lot of communities and everything, so art really plays a great role in that, in the like financial side.
Tell me about your school. This is a school you founded, correct?
Yeah.
And what's it called?
myth myth
MYPH.
PH, yeah. Sometimes somebody wrote like myth, like MYTH, but it's a bit like a play of the sound plays, you know, like of the letters, because myth it's kind of letters of Mykolaiv young photography. photographers, Mykolaivian photographers, and Mykolaiv is my hometown. And when I created this, I was just like thinking like what the name, like I didn't want to make something like Melnitchenko School of Photography or something. And then I was sitting like how to make it short but understandable for people, and then I like just Mykolaiv, Jan, Myth, yeah, and it sounds like Myth, like, and that's why we now have such a slogan or something like it's not a myth, it's reality, that's we are talking when our school is doing a lot of these exhibitions, festivals, like book and everything, so we're really pushing a lot now, and we're just like about that, like it's not myth, it's reality, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So myth in English, myth in
Yeah,
Ukrainian.
myth, yeah, not myth but myth, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that there's a play on words there. And so it's Mykolaiv young photographer.
Photographers, yeah, photography, photographers, yeah, something like.
Okay. Is there an age limit? Do they have to be young or young at heart?
Actually, it's more than young, in the skills, mostly like emerging artists, because you can be like the 40, 50 years old when you just starting something new for yourself, and you can be successful as well, because we have a lot of like this things like when photographers came into photography like in 40 years, like in 50, so, and they become really known worldwide, so that's not about the age but more about the like newcomers and something.
So are you teaching at the school?
Yeah, I found it 4 years ago, and I was only like the one teacher. It started from like simple courses. It was a local store in Mykolaiv, and then I started to take some of my friends, like who is doing like with film photography or like history of photography, of history of fashion photography. Sometimes, like different models, different blocks of learning, of teaching. And then when COVID started, we tried to go into online. I always told like we, like we, because like we have a teacher, but I'm the founder, I'm the like owner, curator, and but for me like we, it's more usual to tell. And then we tried to go into online, and it was a success because I had a lot of students from all over Ukraine and abroad who really wanted to come into the school because they saw our first like successful steps from the first courses. And we became to grow like and from that time we became not only a school but a collective, like all the time working collective, like with doing like exhibitions, festival fairs, like, and everything, like, so yeah.
So I've heard before that you saying that you don't really have a style when it comes to photography, that it changes all the time. Is that still true?
You mean about myself or about the
Yeah,
school?
about you.
Yeah, I think so because I really love to explore something new all the time, So I think yes, it's still that, but maybe like like some curators or historical something, they can like explore my works and then find something like a style or something visual style. But for me, I really love like to explore new themes in photography. That's why I don't care if I like today I'm doing like male nude photography. Tomorrow I am going into deeper into documentary photography, then I'm going to conceptual or something, So for me, photography is a kind of like to explore your feelings, to explore something inner. So that's why.
I understand you started with photography when you were gifted a camera by, was it your grandmother or your mom?
Yeah, grandmother, yeah.
Okay, tell me that story.
Yeah, I had a piercing in my thumb. I made it in 17. I was 17. It was a first grade, first course in university. Yeah, and I put it, and like in a day or in 2 days, I just couldn't speak. Like I was just like, and I came home and showed them, and they said, "Oh, what did he do?" So my grandmother, she came, I think, like from Italy. She was working hard there to help us, our family there, and she said like, take it off, and I will like present you something. And I said, I want a camera, like not expensive or something, just something which I can take into my hands. And yeah, in 15 minutes I take it off from my tongue, and she come home like from the shop or something. I said, I'm ready, I'm done, we can go. And she's like, okay, tomorrow we can go. I said, no, no, no. We had a deal, so we need to go now. And we went to the shop, to the nearest shop of like which sells like digitals, like computers, laptops, everything. And we bought a small digital camera. So that was the start. And I've never supposed like what's gonna happen next, you know.
It sounds like you understood the business of photography before you learned how to take pictures.
Maybe.
So the school was founded, you said 4 years ago?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
In May it will be 5 years. Yeah, but four
okay.
years and a half already. Yeah.
When did you start gaining notoriety for your photography? When did you start winning awards and having international exhibitions, that sort of thing?
In 2012, I think, had my first international exhibition, like group collective exhibition. It was like 3 years in photography. It was London, Bristol, something like that. I was a part at the time. I was taken to the Ukrainian Photographic Alternative. It's kind of also a collective, a group of photographers. And I was taken to that exhibition. It was the first one. And then that year I had my personal show, first one in Ukraine. So I think that 2012 was like in 3 years when I've started photography. In 3 years I have first successes like in portfolio reviews, exhibitions, and everything. And then it started like to become like mm, not usual thing. It's like not very good maybe to say like usual thing, but I've started to do more projects, to work more on my photography like series and everything, and started to push them like into different awards, like to apply open calls, you know, like to the festivals, to write emails to different galleries, to try myself and magazines. And it started just to work, you know, with that. So but the first one was in 2012.
But when you first got that first camera, when you told me that story, you were 17, right? What were you studying then? What were your life plans? Did you think you were going to become an artist?
No, no. I am just. I was in the university. At the time, I was also dancing because I'm a professional dancer. I'm a Latin dancer, like since 5 years old. I was dancing until I was 25. So 20 years I was dancing like professionally. And I was in the university. I'm an engineer for my specialty, so I didn't really. I really wanted to. I don't know why. Even I can't remember that I had such a dream or something like to become an artist, a photographer. I just wanted to try myself, so I started like to do some street photography to develop my skills, you know, and that in the composition, in colors and black and white, but just by myself because I'm self-taught. I didn't went into some classes or something, and I've started like to find some collectives, websites dedicated to photography in Ukraine and abroad to see what is contemporary for that time, you know, like what is popular, and try myself in that. And so just to develop myself in it.
That's interesting. And so how did it go from the first camera to that winning awards? I mean, how long did that take?
Oh, yeah, that's it all. Like it was 3 years before the first ones, because you know the first ones awards. Now you can like give a look back, and you understand that you have such more like valuable awards, like Oscar Barnack Award in 2017. You know, because it's one of the most popular and like important awards for photographers in the world. You know, but if I didn't get that like portfolio review winning, for example, like, you know, short list of portfolio review in 2012, maybe it will not like play such a big role for me, like to push myself and to develop myself into the future, you know. So I think that every step, like it's very important for author, like step by step, and you're going to some more high like values. And so 2003 years, I that time I need 3 years, you know, because now photographers, if they're like good ones, they can do it much more faster, you know, like even like with the valuable things, like because everything is a bit easier for me now, I think so.
What do you mean? You mean they can
Uh,
gain success more quickly now than
Yeah,
they
yeah,
could?
I think so because I see it with my students. For example, like what my student Artem Humilevsky, he's like 3 years in photography, but he's now three, four, or something. But seriously, maybe three, and he's like from 2019 in MIF from the beginning. But he's now like doing very successful with a different good awards, and he had like shortlist. He's been shortlisted to one good prize for Pinchukar Prize in Ukraine, which I was also shortlisted in 2015. But he needed just only like two years and a half to be. I needed like 6 years that time. It's and internet. It was not like this. It was not so like Facebook, Instagram. Everything was not so like. Um, Spread it around the art, so you didn't understand what is the way like to move yourself. You just needed to find these ways, like how do you
I
need to
see what you're saying.
promote yourself. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I see what you're saying. So it's you're saying that because of the way the internet is now, it
Yeah,
seems
and
like it's easier to promote yourself or to show your
yeah,
work.
yeah, yeah, yeah. From the one side, from another, of course, there are like more artists now, like, and this competition part is much more wide because you really have like now a lot of emerging artists because this like web lets you watch what is like contemporary, what is popular, what is in trends, and photographers can do something like that and try themselves. And so maybe from one side it's easier, but maybe from another one it's the same. So I don't know how to explain it. But anyway, everything depends on the photographers like wish, like their inner like feeling what they're gonna do. Because if they really want to push themselves to develop themselves into photography, they will do it anyway, like in any time, in any conditions.
You travel a lot, right?
Yeah.
So you've been in all the places you've been, especially, thinking of the last 8 months or so. Um, people know that you're from Ukraine. What's been the reaction for you, or what's been the impression that you've seen that people have of art and artists coming from Ukraine?
Oh, um, they're like sometimes shocked knowing that we came from Ukraine, sometimes confused what to say. They don't find their like they trying to find the right words, but I really don't love it, because we kind of we just need to speak, to talk, and like we, of course, when support it's important, but not in the way when people are becoming confused and just like whoa, whoa, and starting like to I don't know how to spell it in English, but just, oh please, like please stay strong. And like when you like see a lot of such like emotions, you're like don't know how to behave yourself in this like dialogues and everything. So of course we need support, of course, everything, but a few words is enough, especially when you're traveling there. But all the time, of course, people support us, and I really like glad that we have a lot of connections with different festival fairs and everything, who really connects us very strong this year, especially like providing us some special offers, like to come, like to give us like some free spaces, booth on the fairs and everything, because it really plays a good role for us.
And you're playing what seems like sort of a dual role, because you're in some ways you're acting like a cultural ambassador, right? You're bringing art from Ukraine into other
Mhm,
places,
mhm.
but you're bringing back in some cases money that you then donate to causes in Ukraine. Isn't that how it works?
Oh yeah, we had sometimes, yeah, it just goes into the just showing Ukrainian culture to the like to Europe, to the West, like what to show what we do, that we are like in any way like we continuing to work with art, to do it, because I had some questions about like why did people like come into the exhibition in Kyiv while you have still the war there, like. And if we not doing that, like the our enemy will be satisfied about that they really stopped us in developing of culture of I don't know, like cinema, theaters, never sit. No, we need to do and go against it. That's the point with this everything, like we do, like with these shows, with the exhibitions. And yeah, and when we came to Photo Basel this year, it was my first trip. Let me explain how I do these trips. Yeah, I am sending a letter to the Ministry of Culture because I'm living still in Ukraine. I'm sending a letter to the Minister of Culture. They give me a permission, so I have the permission to leave Ukraine like for 1 week or 2 weeks or something. Yeah, and then go back to Ukraine. That's how it works. And
Because there's still a rule in Ukraine that
yeah.
men of
This
fighting age can't leave, right?
yeah, sure. Because sometimes people, when we leave Ukraine first time, I put on my social media that, guys, okay, I will explain you everything, like how did I, because I don't want this aggression from. I have a lot of friends who support me, but also different followers who can. Why he's a man? How did he leave the country? No, this it can be this. So I explained it. We are just going. It's our work. It's our job to show the culture, like, and go back to Ukraine. And it was our first trip to Photo Basel in the Switzerland, and we sold prints on 30,000 hryvnias.
Is
It
that a
was
festival? Is that a festival in
art
Switzerland?
fair. It's a photography fair.
Okay.
I was there not with my school. I was there presented by Latvian Gallery, ISSP, and we had that proposition from the Photo Basel, from the whole fair, to sell my students Ksenia Petrovska prints, and the half of the proceeds we can like give to the founding or something that I would love to. So I choose the foundation in Ukraine which supports artists, and they supported me as well with the Kyiv exhibition afterwards. But in June, I was we it was something like 1,000 that time. With the currency, it was 1,000 euros or USA dollars, and we sold these prints and give $1,000 to the foundation which helps artists. And then in June, July, August, September, in 4 months, we also needed some help, and we asked them, and they helped us. So it's working like this, So it's really cool.
And you were saying before you sold NFTs. I wanted to ask you about that because you sold your NFTs, right? The ones that you
Sure, yeah.
created. So these are, I guess, I'm not too well versed in it, but it's sort of like a digital version of your art that you can sell.
Yeah. It's in easy words, it's kind of GPG, that you can sell for the same price as you sell your like edition prints. But if it's you need to go deeper into the crypto and everything, like to understand you just buying like some tokens and everything like NFTs tokens. Yeah, but I sold mine because I went into
So
NFT.
this is a moment, I'm sorry to interrupt you. This is a moment where I speak both Ukrainian and English, but right now I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's another language actually. So I've started to go deeper into NFT just before a few months of war. I just started to develop that field, and that's why I was lucky about that, because when the war started, NFT community started to support Ukrainians very, very much. They started to buy works, they started to support, and it was really a huge success. Like I think that first like months, it was huge support to Ukrainians. And it was like the third day of war when I understand that why I have this chance, why I have this time, that they already bought a lot of my works from the platforms. And that but on the third day I understand that I can do something special, like to sell for donates. And that's why I put my project Military Commissariat. It's about the starting of the war in Ukraine in 2014.
And
I
what's
put
the name of the project?
Well, what name?
Yeah, you said
Yeah.
military
Military Commissariat, Vійськкомат. Yeah.
military commissariat.
Yeah. I
Okay.
created it in 2014. It was 14 photos there, and I just dropped it into NFT and wrote that if I sell it, all 100% will go into donates, and it was sold like in 1 hour. In 1 hour, it was like $8,000. It was a huge start for my working with this selling prints, donations, and everything, because I saw success and I saw that I had this, like support. And so that's why I've continued to work on it. And for now, I like gathered almost like 1 million hryvnias, like 800,000 hryvnias to support like people, army, and everything.
And with the NFTs, I understand you also you were working with a group of female photographers on another NFT project, or was
Uh,
it?
no, it was not mine. It was Ukrainian women photographers, Ukrainian women photographers. No, it was one of the leading person there was my student, Yana Grigorenko, but she's one of the team who made that. Yeah, I think it was Anna Melnikova, another female photographer from Ukraine. Yeah, they did this female photography NFT collection. It was super successful. It was I don't remember, but they sold like for very huge sums of money, because they gathered like this a lot of great photos from. It's not only from me; it's from all the like women photographers from Ukraine, and then we created the MYPH collection as well. Yeah, and we also sold not so many, but we also sold like some money, some pictures, some NFTs to donate, and first of all to help artists, my students, and then to help people in need.
That's great. So what's next? What are your plans now?
In few days we are going to Vienna. We are opening a MIF exhibition there in frames of festival, Rotlicht Festival. Or this is a festival of analog photography, and we're doing a MIF solo show in frames of this festival in Vienna. And I'm also doing my personal like workshops, portfolio reviews, and everything. But before, we have an opening an exhibition in USA, in Nebraska, in the University of Kearney in Nebraska, and after that,
When
yeah,
is
yeah.
the
Uh,
Nebraska
I think
exhibition?
it will be. I think it's 14th or 15th or 13th. From 13th to 15th, it's opening, but it's also a conference. It's a World Affairs conference there, where I'm also taking part online, but I'm also taking part there as a lecturer. I'm doing like speech about my art, about our school as well, and everything. And then we're coming back to Ukraine and opening an exhibition of MIF in Lviv, where uh, taking that exhibition that works from Kiev to Lviv, and also want to make this opening in December. So lots of plans. And now,
Oh,
before your call, I had also talk with a Norwegian photography school
yeah.
from Oslo, and we are planning like to do some collaborations from the next year to make some talks, artist talks between our like teachers, students, portfolio reviews, and everything. So these connections, I think, are very important for us, like to this changing of like of knowledges and everything between Ukrainian artists, Norwegian artists. So
Yeah,
work
sharing knowledge and also connecting with people like
connections.
we're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah, for
earlier.
sure. Yeah.
So
So
where can people follow you? What's your social media? Where do you post your pictures, that kind of thing?
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, but Twitter not very popular for me like last 6 months or 5 months, because mostly Instagram and Facebook.
And about your NFTs and that sort of thing, is that the same place, Instagram and Facebook?
It's more Twitter, but it was before, as I said, because NFT, it's you need like a lot of time to go deeper in NFT. But when you have your physical, like it's divides. Like NFT is metaverse, and your like physical exhibition, everything is your like physical space. So if you go deeper into NFT, you need to have like a lot of free time to do just that, to do just that line with NFT. But now, from the summer, before summer, I was like sitting at home and doing everything online. Like I had like really a lot of exhibition of my and this MYPH collection and everything. So I had time to sit in like near computer and do that online. So I had time. But when we started to travel a lot, like since summer, we had like really a lot of travels with this exhibition, festivals, fairs with my personal and MYPH. I really don't have time for NFT. So my Twitter is not so active now, but maybe someday.
You mentioned Meta, so I'm thinking, you've already done exhibitions in the dark with lamps. So next is virtual reality with goggles.
Yeah. I already have like my shows in Meta, and some of my students we did, and we also planned with this book publishing. We also plan to make this metaverse exhibition as well with the works. But you need to have a huge team to do everything, because when you're like working almost alone all the time, like it's very hard like to do that and that and that. But someday, of course, we're gonna do it. Yeah, but we have experience in that, and I'm also exhibiting my works was just exhibiting on the biggest um cryptocurrency web summit in Portugal, in Lisbon. So my works are exhibiting there as NFT in the real space, like in the big this the city like light box or something. But it's very cool. But I am a bit busy with another physical things.
Sure. Well, Sergey Melnitchenko, artist, photographer, I hope you continue doing your work and spreading art across the world from Ukraine, and fighting against what we could call a cultural genocide that is facing you from Russia. And
That it's a general genocide as well. Yeah.
yeah, so on all fronts, with the information war, the hot war, and then
Yeah.
art. Well, keep doing what you're doing. I hope to be
Thank
able to
you.
follow you,
Mhm.
and I hope to see more and more of your work in the future.
Thank you so much. We are trying our best.
Thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.